Good morning, beautiful. This is Sista Keachia with Movements for Change. It's been a minute since I've done one of my videos. I'm actually not driving. I'm usually in my car. I had someone call it my car chronicles. But today I'm not driving. I'm actually sitting, and I was sitting in silence. And I've been thinking a lot on just overall self-love and self-care. Because the journey is ever growing and ever evolving, and as I work to help others heal, I'm also in the process of healing myself. So one of my biggest ventures nowadays is focusing on self-love, making sure that I'm practicing skills that will lead to my optimum, my greater good, that I'm eating foods that are actually going to make me feel good, that I'm in relationships and having conversations and dialogue with others, that when I walk away, I really feel good on the inside, that I'm paying attention, that when a conversation doesn't feel good, that I'm not being disrespectful to someone, but I'm just finding compassionate ways of, walking away and ending those conversations, and that I'm really serving my greater good so that I can fulfill my higher purpose. And as I work with myself and I work with my community that I serve, my transformees, through my practice, Movements for Change, where I am a transformation coach, I share a lot of the wisdom and a lot of the aha moments that I have with you through my video blog here on YouTube. So that's my greeting. I hope all is well with everyone. I have a lot that's been happening in my life. I just returned from Ghana, where I've been working on some projects there. And so I have a lot that's coming up that's going to allow me to share. I have some videos coming up. But so we're going to focus today on, I use the term self-love deficiency, because if you don't have self-love, then there's a deficiency in that area. So to make it easy to understand, I call it self-love deficiency. So what is self-love deficiency? It's basically when you lack so much love for yourself that you're always seeking it from others, that you're always looking for someone else to give that love to you that you really should be giving to yourself. And how that plays out, it looks differently for many of us. Some of us, we enter in relationships with people that really don't mean us any good, but they may remind us of a parent that we were looking for love from. And so we stay in that relationship knowing that the person cannot give us the love that we deserve, but we're hanging on just to validate ourselves and prove our worth. That may, self-love deficiency may show up in how we eat. Some of us may be overeaters or undereaters, or we may eat foods that we know isn't good for us, but because it meets an emotional need that we overindulge, and we may be dealing with, issues with our body image and our weight. Sometimes self-love deficiency shows up in how we allow things to play out when we know it's not for our greater good and we should be ending it, but we continue. So today I want to share 4 signs of self-love deficiency. And if you follow me on Instagram, Facebook, any of my social media handles, on Facebook, I'm Movements for Change. On Instagram, I'm movements_for, FOR_change. You'll see that I posted today because this has been resonating with me quite a bit. So one of the signs is not feeling like you can trust yourself to make decisions. Now, I've seen that come out in my personal life in basic ways, like decorating my house. There was a time when I felt like I needed to ask 20 people something about, not trusting my ability to create an environment in my home that suited me. And because I didn't really know myself and I wasn't really connected to my inner self, I was always running from that self. I didn't want to trust my ability to make decisions. But someone asked me last week, how do you know when you're not loving yourself? A sure sign that you're dealing with self-love deficiency is your inability to trust yourself to make decisions, not being able to make decisions on your own. When I was much younger, I remember I had an experience where I was working somewhere. It was like my first real job, and I was so afraid to make a mistake. I wanted to just be right, because you know the corporate culture, it makes you feel sometimes like if you're not that perfect employee, you're going to get fired, you're going to lose your job. And I was so young, I didn't trust myself, and I went and I asked a question about every little detail. I just was like, I'm going to ask every day, all day. And I overheard some of my coworkers talking about me, you know, and one of them was saying, you know, the new girl, she's always asking questions. And I thought to myself, this world, as I'm reflecting on life and my experiences and dealing with my self-love growth, I'm thinking that the world doesn't care what you've been through, what you've experienced. You know, it's going to show up for you, and you just have to be open to receiving that lesson. Because I was so hurt at that, you know, we're talking about almost 20 years ago. I was so hurt when that person was saying that. But now that I'm mature and I'm getting older and I'm realizing that I was just really dealing with some self-love deficiency. And, you know, I'm actually thankful for that experience. So think about how you may be struggling with trusting yourself, and start with some small stuff. You know, think about what you want to eat for dinner and just make that decision on your own and enjoy the meal. Think about when you're driving and you get this gut instinct to go right instead of left. Just go right. If that's what you're feeling on the inside, start to practice some self-trust practices, because that's going to help to build your inner intuition, and it's going to help to build a stronger relationship with yourself. Okay, the second one is staying in unhealthy relationships. How do we know that a relationship is unhealthy, right? We have to assess the relationship that we're having with ourselves first. Because if we're having an unhealthy, if we're talking bad to ourselves, then it's likely the way that we're interacting with those around us is going to be in alignment with that. But we know when something doesn't feel good. That person that when you walk away from them, you just feel weighed down. That could very well be an unhealthy relationship. And if you find yourself constantly trying to be in alignment with someone who does not suit your greater good, then you need to check your self-love radar, your self-love thermometer, rather. You know, you may be dealing with self-love deficiency. And you don't want to make harsh and rash decisions about walking away, because no one is perfect. And we're going to be in relationships with people that are imperfect. And we have to learn to set healthy boundaries, because we too are imperfect. But when a relationship is just straight up toxic and it's not serving your greater good, that's something that you need to walk away from. And you have to make that decision and trust yourself in making that decision. Okay. Saying yes when you mean no. Number 3, saying yes. This is how we say yes when we mean no. Yes. And we really want to say no. And we say yes when we really mean no, because if we don't love ourselves, we think everyone else doesn't love us. And we start to do things and jump through unnecessary hoops to be liked, to be validated, and to feel a part of. Because we don't think that these people or this person is going to love us just for who we are. So then we find ourselves doing things. And I call it spiritual dehydration. When I'm working with my transformees in my sessions, I introduce that terminology, spiritual dehydration, because your spirit then becomes thirsty for real unconditional love. When you're in relationships with folks where you feel like you have to be something or do something to receive their love. And it's never about that person. They may not have done anything to make you feel that way. It has everything to do. Everything starts with ourselves. So it has everything to do with where we are with ourselves and how we feel about ourselves. And when we're saying yes, when we really want to say no, we have to then talk to ourselves and have that real conversation about if we're dealing with self-love deficiency. It's not about blaming others about why we do the things we do. It's about making a change for ourselves. And the last one is, it's in alignment with the other 3, but it's a general experience, and it's self-sabotaging. And I'm going to tell you how self-sabotaging has played out in my personal life. And I trust that all of my viewers, you all can relate, but procrastination, setting yourself up for failure. One of the best ways that we set ourselves up for failure is procrastinating. just allowing things to pile up and not doing the thing that we say we're supposed to do or that we're gonna do, because we don't know our worth. We don't see our worth, and we can't really function in life without that chaos of needing to fix things. We have to do what we say we're going to do. We have to stop sabotaging ourselves, okay? Remember, you're loved, lovable, and loving, and you're beautiful on the inside and out, and you matter. This is Sista Keachia. If this video gave you insight and offered you something, give us a like, share it, tell your friends, all right? I'm Sista Keachia with Movements for Change, and I love you. Peace.